I'd buy that for a silver dollar.
Hello and welcome to a special episode of Chet and John's Reassuringly Finite Gaming Playlist. My name is Chet Roivas. John Denton is not with me this week, and that's why it's so special. But it's also special because this is a one-off show in which I interview Jonathan Fluck, who is one of the two brothers that make up Silver Dollar Games, an outfit that if you've listened to the show for a little while, you'll probably be more than familiar with. They made one of John and I's favourite games of last year, One Finger Death Punch, but they're also the most prolific developers to have ever worked on Xbox Live Indie games, having made well over 60 games on the service. Some of them are definitely better than others, and if you check our website for the page linked to this particular episode, you'll find some of my personal recommendations, along with what John Fluck of Silver Dollar deems to be their best stuff too. Also, like many podcasters, arguably far too many, I've tried to mimic a little bit of the slightly abstract stream of consciousness brilliance of Robert Ashley's podcast A Life Well Wasted, which if you've never heard, I implore you to go and investigate and look into that. There's a link on the page for this episode as well. But I've used that as an excuse to showcase the work of the appropriately prolific and obscenely talented Swedish maestro Mitch Meurtre. A full track list of the music on this episode is available on that page, as are links to Mitch Meurtre's pages on iTunes and Bandcamp, which again I implore you to check out if you enjoy the music. So yeah, that's it. Hope it's as enjoyable to somebody who's not as obsessed with XBig as I am. But yeah, that's it. I'll leave you in the capable hands of Mitch Meurtre and Jonathan Fluck of Silver Dollar Games.
From CBS News, this is 30 Minutes with Betty Amber.
Glen. All over the country, armies of young people are blasting away at invaders from outer space and paying for the privilege. I'll be looking at the electronic game craze, which is low.
My name is Jonathan Fluck, and my brother and I, David Fluck, we are Silver Dollar Games, and we make a series of small little games on Xbox Live indie games.
Silver Dollar Games is ruining indie games with shovelware and apps that their games in quotes have no use outside of novelty. Damn you, Silver Dollar. I blame Silver Dollar Games for the overall state of Xbox Live indie games and the poor sales of every hard-working developer who put all their efforts into making good games. I hate you so much. When will you learn that you'll never be funny? I don't know. It's true, actually. A lot of games aren't funny. Sad part is that Silver Dollar Games pride themselves on bad indie games. And because people buy their bad games, they continue to make more bad games. I think that one's one of my favorites because that part, now I always stop and say, hold on. Wait. Why would people buy bad games? And because people buy bad games, they make more bad games? Well, people, stop buying bad games. Do not buy bad games. Very good advice.
We started the day it launched in, 2008, November of 2008. We were one of the first games to be released on, at that time it was called Community Games. And since then we've made something like 65-ish games on what is now called Xbox Live Indie Games. Well, our process is really weird. We just joke around and figure out what some little joke that we have, and then we literally say, let's just do it. But I'd never want to give up the opportunity to make these weird little ideas, because you just can't do that anywhere else. That's something that you'd only do yourself, especially when some are so stupid and weird. No one would ever support you on it. And I don't know how my brother and I just get along and just think of a dumb idea and we say, okay, let's do it. I don't know anyone else in the world that totally goes along with that. We just do every single time. We're like the weirdest team. So I think that's very special.
XNA.
XNA is the programming language you need to make games on Xbox Live Indie Games. XNA can also do PC games as well, and Windows Phone games. It's everything. It's because of that programming language that we got into making games in the first place. My brother took a little bit of programming in high school, and then that's it. I didn't take anything. But XNA is, and other people will say this as well, is really easy to make games, 2D games, I believe, and I feel that XNA really excels at that. And that's why all of our games are 2D, because we're not really that skilled. But almost anyone can pick it up and give XNA a try. But it's at the end of its run. I don't think XNA supports the latest DirectX, and I don't think XNA is going to continue on anything past what we have for Xbox Live Arcade. I mean, the Xbox Live Indie Games, I should say. It's actually a really tricky situation because Xbox Live Indie Games runs on a peer review system where other peers that have games in there review your game. You need a minimum of 7 reviews to make your game pass. But what's been happening is less and less people are around, just because times change and they're all moving on to different things. That there's less games in the peer review system, less people doing it. Eventually, there won't even be 7 people to review each other's games. And we're kind of seeing that happen now, and we think in a year and a half's time it'll be pretty difficult to get a game out just because there's no one around left. But we think we'll make a couple games here and there over the next year, but we really have to move on to other things. As soon as we heard the news about Xbox One and what it and XNA and where everything's going, we said, okay, well, what are we going to do? We still want to make video games, and we came across a program called Construct 2, and that was a neat little thing to make HTML games, 2D games, and it was really easy. It was like a game maker, and I recommend that to anyone who wants to make video games because you don't have to know anything about programming at all to do it. You can make a lot of cool, neat things. And you can put it on the web, and there's other programs being developed to put it on phones. I thought that was neat, but it turns out we came across Unity, and Unity is just, I'm falling in love with it. It's everything we've ever wanted. You need to be a pretty good programmer to do a good 3D game using XNA, but Unity, the tools are so powerful. You could do anything you want. And I would, if someone wants to make video games, I would recommend sitting down and looking at video tutorials of Unity. It'll take you a year, but a year's time, you'll be like, wow, I can do anything. This is amazing. God bless it. You can just export it to iPhone and the Android and the PC, and one day soon, and I know it, Xbox One. Now, it's been confirmed that Unity will be working with the Xbox One, but I guess Xbox, or Microsoft, I should say, is still working on software to make it so everyone can use it. But Unity, I bet you there's going to be a ton of awesome Unity games on the Xbox One a year from now. We weren't always really weird. We made this robot badminton game called Blazing Birds, and then we made a game called Blow, which is kind of, a lot of people loved it, and it was compared to The Incredible Machine. And both those games, well, Blazing Birds went on Xbox Live Arcade and basically tanked because it was a very small game, and it was about robot badminton. But it was a fun, neat game, but I think the controls were really difficult. But Blow was a pretty cool game, but tanked miserably on indie games at that time, Xbox Live indie games. And then we realized, wow, all we did was just lose money. We just basically spent all of our friends and family's money that we borrowed and just lost it all. And then we saw games like A Kitchen Sink War, which was basically like a tech demo thing that a guy took, and oh man, it was like just spoons and forks floating over an image of a sink, and it sold better than Blow. And we thought, wow, clearly we're doing something wrong here. And so we started to experiment with smaller games. I said, okay, listen, we can't do another game like Blow, because that takes a year, and especially to make like a couple $100 at most. Like you would just live on the street. It's over. And we saw a little bit of success with smaller games, just a little. It's not like we're making money, but we didn't lose money. And other people were doing the same thing. Now, the developer community on Xbox Live indie games didn't like that at all, because you're making smaller games. It's gonna make this whole service look like a joke. You're gonna chase away all the core gamers. But the irony is that we had like a really wicked lineup the day community games launched. All these awesome games. None of them sold anyways. Nothing sold at all. The gamers never wanted that cool stuff. They only wanted the niche little games. And I think that changed when Avatars came out, and that saved the day. Now everyone wants bigger, higher quality games with Avatars running around, and it's awesome. When you look at Xbox Live indie games, all you have to do is go to the top downloads, and those are, I think, based on sales and units of sales. So people say, oh, that's unfair, because what if my $5 game sells half as much as a $1 game? But $1 game is only $1. I should be making more. I should be rated higher. But ultimately, that shows who's making the money, and we don't have any games there because we just we haven't been able to make anything the audience really wants. Also, we like to make some really weird games. I can name like 30 games that we just made just for us. And most of the world just kind of thinks they're crazy. It doesn't really like them. Fair enough. But we make just enough to get by. But that's probably because we have 65 little games here and there, collecting like $1 here, $1 there. But it would be nice to just be able to make like a cool Avatar game and make your money and just be happy. But it is kind of frustrating always being on the edge of paying your rent continuously. You kind of want like just a couple months to breathe. But it's okay, because we're still doing what we love. So. Well, I saw this thing, like blog post that pointed to some guy at some conference saying the AAA titles make more money if they don't have a demo. I guess. And also, I've seen some phone games where you just have to buy it. I'm like, what, I just have to buy this? This is weird. So I hopefully look it up on YouTube and be like, okay, I want to see some gameplay. It might have cut into a little bit, but whatever, man. I love the idea of that trial, because you know what I find weird? Someone who buys a game and then goes, oh man, why did I buy this? Well, dude, there was a full trial there. In fact, we have a game called Why Did I Buy This? And it's just a joke telemarketer game. And really, don't buy it. It's just a joke. You can get the joke within the trial. And we love to do that. And actually, that's one thing I think that the next Xbox will have, and I love the phones for this, is that you can release a free game. The reason why I like the trial is because it's the closest to a free game you can get on the Xbox. but you might not know this, but Xbox Live Indie Games isn't allowed to have free games. So if a game was 5 minutes long, Xbox Live Indie Games has a restriction built in no matter what. Your trial cannot go over 8 minutes, or Microsoft's little blue screen comes up and says, buy me. So all trials have to be under 8 minutes no matter what anyways. And if you were to make a game that you could win in 7 minutes, it wouldn't be allowed on Xbox Live Indie Games. You'd have to make a trial that stops the game before 7 minutes, because then you could play the whole game, and that's not allowed. Microsoft had a statement saying that Xbox Live Indie Games is not a free service. They're not here to host your games for other people for nothing. Fair enough, which is why I like the trial so much, but I have a feeling in the future on Xbox One and all over the place, these premium, or what are they called, freemium games, where they free to play but then you pay money later. I would love it if you could just have free to play, completely free games. They don't have to be big. Like, I would love to experiment with little ideas, but not charge anyone for it. Just get it out there so people can play them.
One finger death punch.
Oh yeah, it is complete, utter disaster financially. We kind of thought it would be. We always knew, oh man. Well, you just look at what's selling here. Avatar survival games, Avatar Warfare, Avatar Farm Online, Castle Miner, White Noise, Mount Your Friends, Murder Miners, Castle Miner. Whoa, those are the top 8. One Finger Death Punch doesn't fit in there. Sure enough, the audience, the masses on Xbox Live Indie Games, sure enough, says no, this is not something I want. And I'm not surprised. I'm looking at what's selling here, and it's clearly, out of the 8 games, only one is a 2D game. The others are all 3D. Oh man. I didn't think it would do as bad as it did. I thought maybe it'll make his money back. Right now, it actually didn't even pay for the art or music or anything. So we just lost money making it, let alone the 2 years it took to make it. Like, it's an absolute financial disaster. But, oh man, the game rocks, and I'm so glad we made it, though, because the game, oh man. I'm so happy with the game and how it turned out, though, that it is kind of worth it.
The battle for the mind of North America will be fought in the video arena. The video drum. The television screen is the retina of the mind's eye. Therefore, the television screen is part of the physical structure of the brain. Therefore, whatever appears on the television screen emerges as raw experience for those who watch it. Therefore, television is reality, and reality is less than television.
One thing we've learned many years ago on Xbox Live Indie Games is there was some really cool games in the past, and people would praise them and say, well, why isn't no one buying them? Why is no one buying? Xbox Live Indie Games sucks. No one even buys anything. They do, and they buy games by the millions. But it seems that no amount of press can force the particular Xbox Live Indie Game audience to buy games. And maybe that audience doesn't look at the press. And I have a theory, and I've said it, and we don't know any numbers, and maybe someone out there in the world does. Please tell me. But I have a theory that younger kids are buying Xbox Live Indie Games, and they don't look on the internet for anything. They don't go and read posts or listen to anything. They just look at what's there and buy what they like, and it happens, and we can kind of see what they like. It appears that it's like Avatar 3D games, shooting games, stuff like that. This is just a theory, but it would explain why all these games that an older audience and these critics seem to love, but the consumer is not interested at all. You know what's interesting? What's that game? Is it called Fist Puncher? Yeah, I thought that game's a really cool game. Man, and then we saw that it didn't sell at all. Like, terrible. Wait, I was like, how is that possible? How is Cooties Patient Zero gonna sell better than Fist Puncher? That game's a really cool game. Oh, it's just not for the audience. What happened is we actually made basically no money last year, but we were saved. Oh man, this game would never have happened. But we won the Dream Build Play contest, and that was $40,000 cash. Bam! Oh my God, we can finish this game. So there's 12,000 of it to artwork and music, and all that said and done, man, the art's not. People don't even like it that much, anyways. But sadly, and then that left us a bit of money that we split to work on it for a full year, and that was it. Like, that's how we'll pay our bills. And we're like, thank God. Otherwise, that basically would never have happened. We would have released the game in the form that it was, which is not nearly as good as it is now. So we're very thankful. I don't think other competitions see it as a good game because it didn't go anywhere. I submitted it to the Independent Game Festival and didn't do anything there. I don't think the game's at that level anyways. And then I submitted it to the IndieCAD Festival and didn't go anywhere there. And then I submitted it to the Intel PC Demo Competition and lost there as well. So clearly the game isn't at certain levels that other people expect it to be. So I feel very lucky. And there's a couple things. There was an indie uprising that they did last year and the year before, and they had a little page on the dashboard that showcased all the cool indie games. The uprising was run by a couple guys that wanted to help promote indie games, and they have written many things about us and have voiced that they do not like us. So clearly we're not invited into that, which is fine. It's a shame actually, because the last uprising we probably would have put one finger death punch in. We asked them, but unfortunately it wasn't good enough for them. Someone asked me if some negativity fuels us, and it does a little. But I think it would be nice to make games or anything, even music or art or you name it, in a time where there wasn't the internet, because people are going nuts. So we're so used to it. We have a really thick skin now. But I feel bad for other people who don't, because it can be pretty difficult to just make something. It's difficult when you make something as small as like No Luca No, a game I made in a day about a cat, and then someone wants to like kill you for it, but yet they do nothing themselves. It's like, what have you done? It's difficult to cope with at first, and it's not enjoyable to go through 3 years of that to grow that thick skin. I don't think that thick skin you can get very easily either. I think it takes a long time. But now we have it, and now we just don't give a damn. I guess we are the king of people going, how dare you sell that stupid cat game? We are the ones that other people are angry at, because they're like, your dumbass cat game should never have sold. But that doesn't mean that we should be able to make that. Other people say, well, this is junk. Okay, sure, but aren't I still allowed to make a small idea and share it with people? Even for free, using a free trial or a completely free game. And other people say, well, no, and you should just leave. But fair, but I think, no, I want to make them, and I will. So it's that endless struggle that I have with some people on the internet who don't like that, and me who just loves to do stuff like that. There's always someone that, in fact, my brother and I often say, I don't think you can make a game that doesn't sell any units on Xbox Live Indie Games. There's always some unique person out there looking to try something really weird. I'm very hopeful for the future. For me, I think would be a lot of small games and then a couple bigger games, like One Finger Death Punch, to go on all platforms. And I hope to get One Finger Death Punch on other things, perhaps. We're also working maybe on a mobile version. But that's such a scary future because Xbox 360 is going to disappear, and then all of Income's, whatever it is so little. Like, it's literally like 18 grand each a year, but like it's like way less than minimum wage here. But I guess you don't pay much taxes when you're not making much money. But oh man, it is just scraping by. Like, wow.
www.silverdollargames.com, www.mitchmurder.bandcamp.com.